When you first learned that LeBron James was going to the Los Angeles Lakers, what were your thoughts?
Well, I was disappointed he didn't stay in Cleveland, but that's water under the bridge now. And I think, obviously, he's the greatest basketball player in the world today. But the problem is that team's not very good. The Lakers are not a contender. They're probably a 5 or 6 seed in the West. And it's going to be, but they're going to get a lot of attention.
Charles, you're going to sit up there and look at me like I'm smoking something, but I got to confess something to you, my brother. I believe the Los Angeles Lakers are going to the Western Conference Finals. I believe that come season's end, I don't think that you're going to find anybody outside of the Golden State Warriors that can take them out of the West.
Well, I think you're wrong, in my opinion. I think they're not even good as the San Antonio Spurs. I think the Spurs, with the DeMar DeRozan and LaMarcus healthy all year, the Spurs are better. I think Oklahoma City is probably better now that they got rid of Carmelo, and the Rockets are better.
I'm going to let you put your earpiece on because I want you to hear me loud and clear. Again, LeBron James will be in L.A. You got some veterans. I like Kyle Kuzma. I like Brandon Ingram. I think those guys are going to be able to make some noise. Their length, their athleticism, their youth, along with some of the experience. And then I look at, to me, the biggest threat is Houston, but I think Houston has taken a step back defensively without Ariza and Mbah and Moute, but an uptick offensively with Carmelo Anthony. What are your thoughts about the Rockets?
Well, I think the Rockets did take a step back losing those two guys. I truly believe that. I think the Rockets are the second best team in the West. And then I think it's a toss-up between Oklahoma City and the Spurs. And then, listen, no disrespect to the Lakers, but I'm not even sure they're better than the Portland Trail Blazers. I mean, LeBron is great, but it's going to take those young guys at least a year to adjust to playing with LeBron. Those guys have all played with the ball their entire career. LeBron is a power, a forward who has to have the ball. It's not just going to click right away. So I think the Lakers are going to have some growing pains, and by the time they get through the season, they're going to be the 5th or 6th seed.
Let's transition to the Eastern Conference. You've heard Kyrie Irving in his comments. He's saying that the Boston Celtics are clearly the team to beat in the East. He believes that the Boston Celtics can take out the Golden State Warriors, and I'm not sure I disagree with him. I think the Celtics are the team that is the biggest threat to the Golden State Warriors. To that you say what?
Well, I might agree with you if it all works together. Listen, Stephen A., they got the most talent in the Eastern Conference. But they don't have enough basketballs to go around with every single person out there. It's going to be an adjustment for every player. It's going to be an adjustment for Brad Stevens. Then you got the Toronto team that's really good, and you got to figure out if Kawhi Leonard is all in or he's just trying to get to L.A. next year. And then you got the Philadelphia 76ers, who got two of the best players in the world, and Ben Simmons and Embiid. But the key to the Sixers is going to be Markelle Fultz. I think those are the three teams by far in the Eastern Conference. But let me tell you something. That Celtic team is loaded, but there's only one basketball out there, and it's going to be interesting how they make that work.
How about Toronto? You brought them up with Kawhi Leonard. How much better are they now with Kawhi Leonard as opposed to DeMar DeRozan?
Well, it depends on Kawhi. Stephen A., Kawhi before he got hurt, he was the second best basketball player in the world. Now, like I say, it all depends if he wants to be in Toronto or he's just going through the motions trying to get to L.A. next year. Because Toronto, let's not forget, I mean, you just said something. They just got the second best basketball player in the world, and they had the best record in the Eastern Conference last year. So they automatically going to be better. But it all depends on Kawhi, whether he's buying in or he's just trying to get through the year to go to L.A.
Well, let me tell you this. You're the one calling him the second best player in the world. I'm one of those people who believe it's Kevin Durant. I know you got a lot of love and respect for him because he is a superstar in this league, but I still think you're shortchanging him just a touch because Kevin Durant has elevated his level of defensive play, and I think he's the second best player in the world.
Well, hold on. Before Kawhi got hurt, would you agree he was the second best player in the world?
Okay, at the time, yeah. At the time, yeah.
Okay. But listen, Kevin Durant has a huge advantage. Stephen A., I'm not comparing myself to Kevin Durant, but I was a much better player in Philadelphia than I was in Phoenix. But I got the MVP when I got to Phoenix because I had Dan Marley, Kevin Johnson, Sid Ceballos, and Mark West, and those guys. Kevin Durant has less responsibility than he had in Oklahoma City, so he can play better defense. He does it, and he can pick his spots. It's a lot easier to play basketball when you have great talent around you. When you're a one-man team where you have to do everything, you have to make every big basket, man, that does not flow at all. But when you're playing with Steph and Clay, Draymond, Iguodala, the game is so much easier for you.
Let's transition. Let's stay with Kevin Durant, but let's transition to a different subject. Kevin Durant, speculation as to whether or not he might leave Golden State after this upcoming season. Kawhi Leonard, speculation as to whether or not he may leave Toronto after this season. Anthony Davis signing with Clutch Sports, and it's speculation as to he would be willing or be looking to leave New Orleans after this upcoming season. L.A. has been mentioned as a destination spot for at least one of them, if not all three, considering. So LA's going to have their pick of the litter for amongst those three guys. If LeBron James needed to be with any of them, who would be the ideal teammate of the guys that I mentioned to join him in LA after this season, in your estimation?
Well, I'd probably, if I told you, and we can agree to disagree. I think Anthony Davis is the second best basketball player in the world. I think he's unbelievable. But, you know, I just get disgusted about this whole scenario where all these guys are trying to stack their teams. And I'm the old guy who says, get off my lawn. Nobody wants to compete. Listen, it doesn't have zero effect upon my life. But if all these guys just want to play together and dominate the league, listen, there's no need for us to watch.